Okay. At this point, I'm going to call upon Steve Warner, our planning board attorney, in regards to a presentation they're going to make on a redevelopment study, 191 East Hanover Avenue. And also, I'm sorry, Liz Lahaney. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Township committee members, township professionals and officials. Steve Warner, planning board attorney, as you know. Elizabeth Laney of the Phillips Price firm, township planners, as you also know. The matter that I want to address by way of brief overview is the area need of redevelopment study that has been recommended by the planning board to this township committee with respect to the Colgate property, block 10401, lot 3. I'll speak very briefly about the process and procedure where we are now, and I believe Ms. Laney will speak to the executive overview, if you will, of the study for consideration by the committee. As the committee knows, the local redevelopment and housing law authorizes municipalities to determine whether certain properties constitute areas in need of redevelopment. This township committee, by way of a resolution back in September of 2016, authorized and directed the planning board to conduct a preliminary investigation of the property with respect to the, and we'll call it the study area, with respect to whether all or a portion thereof met the criteria for an area in need of redevelopment, which designation would permit the township to use all redevelopment powers except eminent domain, and so would be considered a non-condemnation redevelopment area. In October, by way of resolution, the planning board authorized Ms. Laney's firm to conduct a preliminary investigation, prepare a written report, and on December 5th, the planning board, after providing due notice, conducted a public hearing, at which time the planning board determined that the study area met the redevelopment criteria, which Ms. Laney will speak to in more detail in a moment. And the planning board, by resolution also dated December 5th, recommended to this township committee that the committee designate the study area as a non-condemnation redevelopment area, and that is why we're here this evening. So that is what is before the committee at this time, and I'll turn it over to Ms. Laney to provide an overview of the study and the report.
Okay, thank you. So as Mr. Warner indicated, we looked at 191 Hanover Avenue, block 10401, lot 3, commonly known as the Colgate Palmolive campus, which was formerly a manufacturing plant for Colgate Palmolive. And in the summer of 2013, Colgate Palmolive announced that they were shutting down their Morris Township facilities and their manufacturing facilities and moving them to South Carolina and taking some of the sort of back office or IT staff that was there and moving them to Piscataway. We investigated the site. We were taken around the interior of the site with representatives from Colgate Palmolive. We consulted with those representatives, and also looked through files that were provided to us from the township from past Colgate Palmolive applications to sort of get a sense of what the building layout was and what the conditions were. As you know, the site is 49 acres in Morris Township. The facilities total they're about 560,000 square feet. And you know, as I said, we did find in our report to the planning board that the site did meet the criteria B and criteria D of the local redevelopment and housing law. For the sake of the record, I can read to you what those criteria stand for within the housing law, or within the statute. Criteria B is discontinuance of the use of buildings previously used for commercial, manufacturing, or industrial purposes, the abandonment of such buildings, or the same being allowed to fall into so great a state of disrepair as to be untenantable. And criteria D is areas with buildings or improvement which by reason of a dilapidation, obsolescence, overcrowding, faulty arrangement or design, lack of ventilation, light and sanitary facilities, excessive land coverage, deleterious land use or obsolete layout, or any combination of these or other factors are detrimental to the safety, health, morals, or welfare of the community. We found that the site and the buildings and improvements on the site did meet those criteria. And, the planning board held a public meeting on this report on December 5th, which they made the recommendation to the council that the council find that this area qualifies as a non-condemnation area in need of redevelopment. And really that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
And the report, of course, and the study have been public records for a long period of time now.
Okay. At this point, if anybody has any questions at this point from the dais before we offer up the resolution? No? I'm going to offer up resolution 241-16 for a motion.
So moved.
Second? Second here. Roll call.
Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Mancuso?
Yes.
Mr. Matt?
Yes.
Mr. Sisley?
Yes.
Mayor Cook?
Yes.
Mayor, you may want to have Mr. Warner just briefly explain the other steps that follow.
Okay.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mills. Once the area is designated by way of resolution by the Township Committee as an area in need of redevelopment, non-condemnation redevelopment area, the next step would be a redevelopment plan, generally prepared by or under the auspices of the planning board. And then at that point in time, when there is a redevelopment plan, thereafter could be a redeveloper who proceeds with site plan approval for the development of the property in accordance with that redevelopment plan. And that redevelopment plan essentially constitutes or supersedes the existing zoning, and any subsequent site plan would have to be in accordance with the zoning as set forth in the redevelopment plan.
The details will unfold in front of the planning board.
Correct.
Exactly. They'll ultimately, at that point in time, is when the details of the development would be pursuant to a site plan approval, application, noticed hearing, et cetera, the usual course. But that is down the road.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further from anyone from the dais? Okay.
Bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.